Well, ain't that a motherfucker? I just, I just went on for like 10 minutes. I was like, that's weird. There's no pause button. Fuck. Yeah, so here we go. Good morning, good evening, whatever the hell it is. It's Uncle Billy here. Um, man, that sucks. Oh well. So, what the hell did I? Oh man, I totally have to redo this. All right, this is for Michelle. Michelle, I hope you enjoy this. This is the RV's prayer that my mom has hanging up in her RV. Fuck, I gotta read this again. Okay, the RV's prayer. God bless our traveling home and guide us wherever we roam. Help us find the roads we seek, and please don't let the plumbing leak. Save us, please, from engine trouble and mechanics who would charge us double. As we travel on our way, bless us with sunshine every day. And while you're watching overall, could you let the gas prices fall? Please? For real? Lead us towards good food and friends, and when at last our journey ends, grant us our rolling home sweet rest into the next endurance test. My mom loves that, and it's cool. So anyway, hope you all are doing great. Uh, as some of you have seen and know, today was my dad's 75th birthday, or would have been, and it made me think. So a few years ago, I found out some news that like made me so happy and so sad at the very same time. I was incredibly happy to learn, about this, but like really sad that I didn't get to tell him myself and get to share it with my dad, because he would have really, I think he would have been really happy. So as a kid, I was really into like metal, and I mean like I said stated before, I love music, and metal was probably it was definitely my favorite growing up. I mean, my very first like band that I learned about and that I sought after, I went after, was AC/DC Back in Black. When that album came out, it changed everything for me. I mean, I'd never heard anything quite like it, never seen anything quite like it. But that's not what this is about today. But I had to like put a little plug in for Back in Black, because it's my all-time favorite. Like, I mean, I know there's other music that might be better, but that was my first. It was my first rock album, and it was incredible. Even for AC/DC, it was an incredible moment for them. After losing Bon Scott, to find Brian Johnson to fill that space was, I don't even. It's miraculous, really. I mean, in my opinion. I mean, anyway. So anyway, back to my dad. So, like I said, a few years ago, I learned some news, and I'll get to that. Like, I will. But as a kid, one of my favorite like metal bands was a band called Savatage, and Savatage was they were great. The two brothers, John and Chris Olivia, um, singer and guitar player, and John also played the piano, which was cool. And well, they had this album out that I was really into called Hall of the Mountain King. And then, I guess it was about a year after being into them, they came out with an album called Gutter Ballet. And I mean, I was so stoked. I couldn't wait for this album. I could not wait. And it came out, and I was so disappointed. I was so sad because it was very, I don't want to say like operatic, but maybe a little bit. It was very theatrical, I guess. I guess that might be the right way to say it, theatrical. Yeah. But, um, I mean, that first listen, I was like, this wasn't where I was wanting it to go. Second listen was the same. And it was probably the fifth or sixth listen when I started, like, realizing, like, this is pretty fire. Like, this is actually for like 1990 or 91 or whenever it was that it came out, it really took me back. Now, to tie it in with my dad, um, well, let me first say, with that gutter ballet, um, there's a song on there that still hits me real hard. It'll make me like, um, kind of sad. It's called "When the Crowds Are Gone," and it's about, well, fuck, it's about where I am, where many of us have been. It's like that change in life when we're no longer kids anymore, and we've kind of done the adult thing, and we're kind of done with the adult thing, and realizing that, hey, you might only have 5, 10, 15, 20, maybe 25 years left. And I've already burned through 53, so I'm not going to waste the next, no matter what it is. If it's 5, 10, 20, I don't give a shit. I'm not burning it. And that's the one thing I really enjoy about having Skylar in my life. I love that little girl, and she makes everything great. So anyway, back on topic, back on point. I found out. Well, even when my dad was still around, one of his favorite bands was this band called Siberian Orchestra. I'm sure you guys have all heard of them. They tour every Christmas season. It's all that kind of metal Christmas music. I think there's actually, at this point now, there's like 2 different touring bands, so they can hit more of the country at once. So it's not really what it was when it started, but now we'll switch back a little bit. And I believe it was like maybe 93 or 90. I think it was 93. Shit, it could even be 96. I don't know. I don't. I'm just going off my memory, which is probably shit anyway. Anyway, Chris Olivia died in a car accident, and it was shocking for everyone. Now, Savatage tried to continue, but it wasn't the same. It just wasn't. It's just, yeah. However, the producer, I believe he was the producer of the Gutter Ballet, and I believe he had tie into some of the other albums that they tried to put out afterwards. He came to the band because, I mean, I think he knew that everything was kind of fucked, especially that Chris, and that it wasn't really wasn't going that great. So he came to them. He had this idea of doing a touring heavy metal Christmas band. And John and some of the other members of Savatage and this producer all put together the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. And although I don't believe John still tours with them, I think they're all probably retired with fat pockets of cash. I think they just kind of run and help, deal with it. It's their baby, but it's not they've got like hired hands, hired guns to do the actual labor and work. But it's that turnaround. It's that realization that my favorite band turned into my dad's. I mean, has that ever has that ever happened? I mean, it happened to me, but I mean, I don't know of any other bands that I could say, yeah, they were for me, and then my dad got into them later. I mean, I realize it's not the same band, but it's the same energy. It's that same vibe, that same metal. Maybe with a little more faith. So, so yeah, my dad and I had the same favorite band, just different. Anyway, I wanted to stop for a second and say thanks to Kevin. Yo, bro, I got my mic, so um, I'm hoping that it works really well. I mean, it's got to be better than just the phone on its own, right? So anyway, man, I love doing this. I love this is like my therapy. Like I get to say whatever the fuck I want, and I get to leave messages for Skylar that she'll be able to look at forever. Or at least as long as she's around. No matter how long I'm around. Yeah, so that's super cool. I dig that. But yeah, I hope you guys all have a great night. I'm sure I could ramble on about some other shit, but I think I'll end it there. And just say thanks, and I hope you guys like this. If if you have any comments or suggestions, please leave them. I'd love to see what other people think. And yeah, and yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow.